Alright, so we play the presentation and in a few minutes we'll have the Q&A.
Hi everyone, my name is Pedro, and I hope you are doing well. I'm a PhD student at the Federal University in Brazil, the Federal University of Ceará in Brazil, and in this video I will present the paper Software Development during the COVID-19 pandemic, an analysis of Stack Overflow and GitHub, which was conducted by the group of Computer Network Software Engineering and Systems, GREAT, in partnership with the Laboratory of Software Optimization and Testing and the Maida Health Company. So let's start with the work contest. As all of you know, the world is facing a new problem that has emerged in 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic. The crisis caused has motivated different studies, and in the software engineering we can point out data visualization projects to follow the disease evolution, machine learning to estimate the pandemic behavior, and computer vision to process medical images. And these initiatives are generating projects which are being stored in a version control systems, while numerous questions about software development are being submitted to question and answer websites. So considering that the development of solutions create main substrates like the crowd knowledge, in this work we performed a mine software repository investigation to understand what the software development community is doing to help the fight against the coronavirus. Our investigation contributes for this fight, systematically describing the development context of COVID-19 solutions at the beginning of this pandemic. And with this knowledge, it's possible to identify what were the most used strategies and propose strategies to improve the software community behavior in similar situations. In this way, it was defined in 5 research questions. The first one is focused on the temporal distributions of questions and projects. The second is focused on what are the characteristics of the questions asked by developers considering the context of the COVID-19. The third tried to analyze the programming language that have been used to develop solutions in this context. The research question 4 guided our investigation to identify the hot topics considering the questions and the project descriptions in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, the research question 5 sought to find with GitHub projects related to the COVID-19 stand out. So our methodology is based on machine learning software repository with 4 stages. The data extraction, in which it was selected the Stack Overflow and data science question and answer websites as the source of questions, and the GitHub repository to get the projects related to COVID-19. In the data modeling, we performed many preprocessing activities, including manual analysis in all questions. To summarize our data, it was selected the topic modeling technique using the LDA method. As the purpose of this video is to present a short description of this work, you can find more details of our methodology reading the paper. So now let's discuss the results focused on the research questions. So for the request question 1, we found that the number of questions and projects grew during the pandemic beginning, reaching its highest point in the week of March 11th. And in this graph, you can see that there is the number of projects in blue and the number of questions in yellow. And it is possible to observe a fast increase in the COVID-related questions and projects around the day in which the World Health Organization defined COVID-19 as a pandemic. Regarding the characteristics of the questions, the most frequent types of questions asked by developers are how-to questions, discrepancy, error, and novice. In general, these questions are related to data visualization and web scraping solutions for the web platform. Concerning the programming language, the most used and discussed programming language are Python, JavaScript, Java, and R. This reflects the great interest in solutions focused on data visualization, web scraping, and data processing. The choice for this language is also directly linked to the maturity of specific libraries and tools created for each of them. In the research question 4, we used the LDA technique to find hot topics considering questions and project descriptions. Regarding questions, the most recurrent, the most frequent topics are web scraping, data repository using the John Hopkins data repository, and data analysis and prediction. In contrast, the hot topics modeled with GitHub project descriptions are analysis of COVID-19 with machine learning, estimation of related COVID-19 crisis, and the prediction of COVID-19 with machine learning in medical images. So this divergence suggests that many initiatives seek to develop smart solutions to tackle the pandemic using, for example, machine learning techniques, and that these solutions are not often discussed on websites like Stack Overflow. Finally, the research question 5, we found that different projects stand out in each of the measures investigated. For example, the first one is the COVID-19 data repository provided by Johns Hopkins University. It has a high number of forks, that is, it is being widely used. The second is the Tokyo COVID-19 Task Force repository, and it has a high number of pull requests, that is, a high number of contributions. And the last repository has a high number of disk usage because it has images used to train convolution neural networks to classify test X-ray exams of people with COVID-19. To conclude, COVID-19 completely changed our way of life, imposing profound crowding restrictions. This study started to investigate the software community behavior during this period, and we realized that questions and projects grew throughout the pandemic. The main questions were classified as how to, concerning web scraping and data visualization processing of data visualization, using the programming language Python, JavaScript, and R. The repositories in GitHub are in the majority of machine learning projects using JavaScript, Python, and Java. For future work, we will analyze the synergism between software communities and the mechanisms to improve their interaction in global mobilization case like the COVID-19, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. So thank you for your presentation. Using this QR code, you can access our code and our data. And if you have some questions, feel free to send me an email. Thank you.
So, Pedro, thank you very much for the presentation. Please, all the people there. Pedro, thank you very much for the presentation.
If you have some questions, I'm here.
Yes, so everyone that is there can write your questions there in the chat, please. So while they start to think and write the questions, I would like to know if you make any kind of comparative study between before COVID and after COVID. Did you check whether there was any kind of difference that led you to go to start this kind of work?
Yeah, first of all, good morning or good afternoon here, Brazil. It's good morning. I'm very glad to be here. It's my first time in this workshop, and I hope to participate in the next years. And regarding the question, Elena, we have not done that yet, but we agree that it is important to improve this study. Is this paper is just an initial step, and we are trying to improve this study to compare the year before and after the COVID to identify these changes. And we believe that we can improve the synergism between the communities, focusing on the main initiatives to do solutions for to fight against the coronavirus, for example.
Mhm. Okay. Did you develop any kind of API or something like that in order to obtain all this data from the different repos? Or did
Um,
you?
at this moment, no, but you can, as I said in the video, and you can also get the link in the paper. We made our data available, so you can just get the link on the presentation or get the link on the paper, and you can access our data downloading a file to do, for example, some kind of contributions, and that's it.
So maybe you could publish your work, your data through Zenodo, so that other people could use them, make available to the community, and also it also provide you with a digital object identifier, DOI, so that you can reference this work as well in future work. So it's a recommendation for you, so that you get the chance to have more impact in the community. Okay.
Very nice. Thank you for the recommendation.
Did you notice that there is some kind of problems regarding how the toolings that we already have in the community could help us to develop software in this pandemic situation? Do you think that something has to be changed in this tooling so that we are going to be much more productive than we are now? Something like sharing, collaboration, or something like that?
Yeah, we have seen that it is possible to create kind of recommendations, especially to connect the Stack Overflow community and the GitHub community, and to guide the open to guide the developers to focus on specific initiatives. So yeah, we think that it is has some kind of space to improve the productivity, and that's the next point we want to explore. We want to improve this paper towards like recommendations to improve the synergism between the communities, to focus, for example, in specific initiatives, to contribute in specific initiatives to help to help the fight against the coronavirus in a global um, context. You know.
Yes, because I saw other initiatives in the artificial intelligence world, like Kaggle. I don't know if you have a look there, and they have many alternatives. Like for instance, the counters they organize context regarding a problem to be solved. So perhaps something similar could be interesting as well whenever we are working in different problems, so that they can be created like in a community, sharing everything through this connection between Slack and GitHub, so that everyone could contribute and could communicate, and help us to solve any problem that we see around the world that can be solved by the technology.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. So, any other question, please? Pedro is here for us. So,
Yeah.
do you have any other question? Okay.
And just including a point about the paper, and we believe that we need to study this kind of synergism between the communities because, especially in the future, we can identify a similar patterns in global mobilization case, for example, like a pandemic, and we can provide recommendations for the software communities to improve their productivities and to focus on what is important. For example, at the first stage of the pandemic, it's important to understand and to get and to store the data. So it is important to have like central repository of data with patterns to store the data and with strategies to process this data and to visualize this data. The second step of this kind of global mobilization case, it is important to have, for example, strategies to predict the disease using, for example, as you said, machine learning to predict the disease using, for example, chest X-ray exams. So we can understand using this type of study the partners that happen in this kind of mobilization case, and we can provide for the community recommendations to organize their work in moments in situations like that.
Mhm. I totally agree with your words, Pedro. Okay. So, any other question? So, if we don't have any other question, we will leave for a while because we have like a break now. People in the organization are working to arrange the meeting so that everything goes smoothly from now on. And we don't have, we will not have any other problem, I think, with the technology aspects in the project, in the workshop. Okay, so we will see you at 3:30. So please, authors, be in your backstage some minutes before so that we can speak with you regarding how the presentation will go. Okay, so please be ready before your time. Okay, and for the other attendees, we will see you in a while after this break. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. See you.
Thank you. See ya.